Welcome to a little walkthrough on my Half-Life Alyx style whiteboards inside VR, but within Unity. So today I'm going to be going over the whiteboard kind of solution I came up with. So don't mind the models; these are all professionally modeled by myself, as you can tell. But anyways, what we have in front of us is a quad. And with just a simple box collider on it as well. You can see my hand colliding with that. With a basically zero friction material on it, that way objects slide nice and easy on it. We have these little pens / markers here. You can see I have a red and a blue one. When we bring it up close and we start drawing, you can draw nice, pretty pictures with it. Then, when you want to erase it, go ahead and erase it like so. Now let's show you how I'm accomplishing that. Alright, so here's my scene in the editor here. As you can see, this is the whiteboard here. Just a simple quad with a mesh render on it. And then where the magic kind of happens here, if we can select it, is this camera. So what this camera is an orthographic camera. Basically set to render as little as possible except for the markers layer in the culling mask. So what this does is this makes sure we only render the markers here, and as you can see there's a little particle system on these markers. This makes sure all we are rendering is the markers particle system and nothing else. That way it's still performant. Then after that, that's pretty much all there is to. The render texture. So this camera actually outputs to a render texture, which then allows us to apply it to the material of the whiteboard itself and apply the actual markers there. Next, we have the markers here, which are just a simple marker with a capsule collider, except for the fact, if we can select it here, that they have a little particle system on it, and they have a box collider on the end. What this box collider will do is when it comes close to contact with the whiteboard, it will actually become like this. So it'll set its values to have essentially a box on the bottom of it, which allows it to be super smooth on the end of it with a slight friction material as well, just so that it kind of glides across the surface of it there. Let's set that back to 0. Next, the particle system on it. Essentially all it is an emission with a little particle here, particle material. All it is emitting a cone, as in like a marker kind of shape, so you can adjust how big you want the marker to be, like the pen size, right here, and just setting this layer to markers that way. That's the only thing that this particle system actually gets drawn on. So all it is this camera, which is also, this camera has to be like really close in line with the quad for it to be able to pick it up. So kind of precisely aligned there. And just with the power of basically culling masks and layers, we can just render on a particle system using the output texture onto this quad, and then we have ourselves a whiteboard within Unity. The only kind of part that makes this a bit more tricky is adding various different kind of effects, like marker and pen effects. Usually pens in real life don't just magically apply like 100% pressure kind of thing. So there's a bit of shader wizardry going on in the background as well, applying different textures and effects to it. If you notice the eraser, which I actually have to dive into as well, in concept it's the exact same as the markers here, except rather than emitting a red or blue texture, it just emits a white. So that just kind of overwrites the markers, and it has another texture that goes on top of it as well, so it doesn't do like one big kind of cone. It does a more kind of random effect, which you saw in the demonstration. But it's as simple as that, just using Unity's physics and rigid bodies and colliders and various friction materials to get the proper kind of gliding that the marker has, and also using orthographic cameras and output textures and culling masks. That's all there is to it. Hope you enjoyed this explanation. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments.